The man originally intended to carve his name into the wall, but instead, he easily chipped off a piece of stone. Looking at the stone, as soft as tofu, he suddenly came up with an escape plan. The next day, he asked his fellow inmate to help him get a poster. Then, Andy began secretly digging into the wall under the cover of the poster. Whenever they were allowed outside for exercise, he would shake the rubble out onto the playground. But the prison occasionally conducted surprise inspections. To avoid suspicion, Andy pretended to be reading a book, and when the warden came for the inspection, he cooperated fully. Fortunately, they didn't notice the hole behind the poster. The warden became interested in the Bible Andy was holding because he was also a fan of the book. So even when he discovered the poster, he didn't make things difficult for Andy. Before his imprisonment, Andy had been a banker, so the warden used Andy's expertise to help him make illegal profits. But what the warden didn't know was that Andy had used a legal loophole to create a fake identity. All of the warden's bank accounts were now under Andy's name. And so, Andy spent the next 20 years digging in secret. Finally, he succeeded in breaking through to the tunnel. That evening, he went about his usual task of helping the warden with the accounts. And when the warden opened the safe, Andy quietly swapped the documents he was holding. Then, he placed the fake ledger into the safe. Before leaving, the warden asked Andy to polish his shoes. But when Andy returned to his cell, no one noticed that he had slipped the warden's shoes onto his own feet. After the prison lights went out, he took off his prison uniform, put on the suit he had stolen from the warden, and crawled into the tunnel. The other end of the tunnel was filled with pipes, and the cement pipes below led directly outside the prison. Each time there was a thunderstorm, Andy would hammer the pipes hard so that the loud noise of his actions would be drowned out. After several attempts, he finally succeeded in breaking open a pipe. The pipe was filled with a nauseating stench, but Andy didn't care. He crawled forward relentlessly. The tunnel stretched for half a mile, and after what seemed like an eternity, he finally emerged. He stripped off his clothes, opened his arms to the rain, and for the first time in 20 years, he felt the true sense of freedom. By the time the warden discovered the hole behind the poster, Andy had already assumed a new identity and appeared at the bank, successfully withdrawing all of the warden's money. Finally, he handed over all the warden's criminal evidence to the teller and asked him to send it to the newspaper. Thus, the warden received his due punishment and Andy regained his freedom.